makes AOC look like a moderate. He wants government-run grocery stores, plans to make public buses free, is pledging to freeze rent prices, and wants to borrow $70 billion for more affordable housing. Unless rich New Yorkers band together, donate a lot of money, and create a groundswell for a viable alternative to Mamdani, another great American city is gonna swirl down the drain.
Wow, way to say the quiet part out loud, Laura Ingraham. Like, oh, us rich people are really worried about this Zohran Mamdani guy. We got to do something about it. Rich people need to band together. Now, look, Laura Ingraham has joined the chorus of Republicans and corporate Democrats that are absolutely panicking about New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani and his victory over Andrew Cuomo in the New York City mayoral race. Now, the general election hasn't happened yet, but it does appear that he's poised to win. And so Laura Ingraham explicitly calling on rich New Yorkers to come together to take him down really tells you everything you need to know about why certain candidates tend to get targeted, smeared, and destroyed, much like Senator Bernie Sanders was when he was running for president. Now, I want to show you a little more. There's a lot more to get to, including what Bill Ackman is going to try to do to defeat him. But before we get to any of that, Cenk, initial thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, that intro by Laura Ingraham is for the ages. Because I mean, she doesn't realize how funny that is. She's like, this guy wants to do affordable housing and free buses for the masses. Rich people have to band together to make sure this doesn't happen. You're just saying it, right? You know that, right?
Yep.
You're on air. You're saying, hey, rich people, let's make sure that the middle class and the poor don't get anything. And this son of a bitch looks like he's looking out for the average guy. Let's band together, rich, okay? Okay, thank you for the confession, Laura. We appreciate it. Bill Ackman's confession is coming up in a little bit. But we're asking you guys, are they gonna be successful? Because look, on the live chat on YouTube, we're asking whether MAGA is gonna be successful in taking down Zohran Mamdani. And you guys are good and optimistic, 79% saying no. On TYT.com, we're asking, do you think the establishment will be able to take down Mamdani in the general election in New York City? And I'm curious about that as well. Because what we have here is a unique situation, Anna, where we have radical right who's like, oh, Muslim, terrorists, hate him, Sharia law, what insanity, stuff like that. In cooperation with and in coalition with establishment Republicans and establishment Democrats. And so they're all unified against them, which makes you want to root for them even more, right? And so will they be able to spend enough money, do enough propaganda, control the media enough to be able to defeat him in the general election? Well, that's another part of the story.
Yeah, and by the way, I mean, we can't discount the media's involvement in all of this because Bill Lander, who was the progressive candidate in the mayoral race, was actually on Jake Tapper's show on CNN, of course, to discuss Mamdani's win. And Tapper asked about Mamdani's alleged anti-Semitism. Okay, so he wants the Palestinian people to not be slaughtered. He wants them to be treated with equality and respect. And apparently, if you have those beliefs, you're automatically considered an anti-Semite, especially if you happen to be Muslim. But let's get to Bill Ackman, because Bill Ackman is real scared and he's willing to do something about it. He's willing to put big bucks behind essentially defeating Mamdani in the general election. So he's vowed to back a challenger to Zohran Mamdani to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. In a 1,500-word post on X, Ackman ranted about how dangerous he thinks that Mamdani is. He says, I awoke this morning gravely concerned about New York City. Socialism has no place in the economic capital of our country. The ability for New York City to offer services for the poor and needy, let alone the average New Yorker, is entirely dependent on New York City being a business-friendly environment and a place where wealthy residents are willing to spend 183 days and assume the associated tax burden. Unfortunately, both have already started making arrangements for the exits. You know what? I think Ackman actually makes a really great point. When I think about prosperity for the working class, I really do think about Wall Street, you know? And when I think about socialism, I also think about Wall Street and bailouts. Cenk, back to you.
Yeah, so again, saying the quiet part out loud. He's saying, I am going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars along with my rich friends to buy this seat. Thank you for the confession. Okay, appreciate it. So then now New York, you've got a choice. Are you going to let really rich people on Wall Street buy the election so that all the costs are put on you and they get a free ride? So Ackman has two reasons why he's so animated by Zohran Mamdani. One, he's a giant bigot and racist. So if he sees someone that's Muslim, and in this case, Mamdani happens to be Indian from Uganda. And so he looks at him and goes, he doesn't bow down to Israel. Terrorist, right? When in reality, Bill Ackman is pro-genocide. So he's much, much closer to a terrorist. Well, it's not even close. Mamdani hates terrorism and is not at all anti-Semitic, and he wants peace for Israel and Palestine, but Ackman doesn't want that. Ackman is pro-slaughter, and so he's saying, I want more of a slaughterhouse in Gaza, and this guy, I know he's the mayor of New York, but it doesn't affect anything, but it bothers me. He's not even pro-genocide, it bothers me, okay? Oh, I'm sorry, are you bothered, billionaire? I'm sorry, are you bothered that we're not doing enough genocides for your liking? So, and this is a sick state of our so-called democracy, where oligarchs feel no pressure at all not to say these things out loud and in public. And they're saying, oh, I will be buying this election on behalf of Israel and my other rich friends on Wall Street here in New York. And that's the second reason why Ackman's so motivated. And that's why Mamdani has become this like target for all of the most toxic people in the country. Because he animates the rich too, like the super rich that love to corrupt the government, not the super rich that don't corrupt the government. They're different categories, okay? But people who are used to buying political seats like Ackman, they're like, we didn't even buy this one. And he's saying that he would raise corporate taxes for New York City from around 7% to around 11%, an extra 4%. I do declare, fellow billionaires, we've got a terrorist here looking to raise our taxes. And he's not even in favor of genocide. No, we will be defeating him with all of our money. We will purchase the seat. Well, I hope that money gets shoved straight up your ass. Now, rhetorically, metaphorically, okay, not literally. So don't get all upset and say, oh, I will now spend hundreds of millions of dollars trying to defeat the Young Turks. They are anti-genocide, I despise them. And I want more tax cuts. Yeah, we got it, billionaire Sir Topham Hat mother effer. We got it.
Okay, get your phone ready so you can scroll through Twitter as I go through the rest of this story, because I'm not gonna go back to you for a while. But let me just say, in regard to shoving money up his ass, listen, Bill Ackman's a wealthy man. And wealthy people love to do all sorts of weird new wave health treatments. Who knows what kind of expensive enemas that guy is up to. But nonetheless, let me give you some more details about how, he originally felt depressed about Mamdani, but now he says he's feeling optimistic about the situation. Now, why is that? The good news, he writes, is that there are other charismatic, intelligent, articulate, handsome, charming, young, yet more experienced and, importantly, more centrist politicians who are New York residents eligible for office. Okay, well, why didn't they run? They didn't run. He says there are also extremely talented members of the New York business community who could be superb mayors. Bloomberg being the reference standard from the past. Wow, this guy's super out of touch. And look, he plans to help bankroll any so-called centrists that choose to challenge Mamdani. Importantly, he writes, there are hundreds of millions of dollars of capital available to back a competitor to Mamdani that can be put together overnight. Believe me, I am in the text strings and the WhatsApp groups so that a great alternative candidate won't spend any time raising funds. If someone is ready to raise their hand, I will take care of the fundraising. I'm sure he will. Now, he goes on and on and on about how it would be a great opportunity for a challenger to essentially build name recognition and be a hero for the Democratic Party. And by the way, the type of candidate that he's talking about, dime a dozen. Okay, centrist Democrats, dime a dozen. Corporate Democrats, dime a dozen. I think what you're experiencing right now with the rise of Mamdani is a rejection of the types of, honestly, policies that both corporate Republicans and corporate Democrats have been championing. I think they're sick. American people are sick of being nickel and dimed, and they want a better system. They want to see an end to the ever-growing wealth inequality in this country. And so when you have someone who focuses heavily on economic policies, of course he's gonna be incredibly appealing to the people of New York City, which has an extremely high cost of living. Now, he, meaning Ackman, actually has someone superb in mind for a write-in campaign, but said that since he's a Trump supporter, his public endorsement would probably hurt the candidate. So he's waiting for someone else to make the first move. And his fellow rich New Yorkers, meanwhile, are equally concerned and already scheming with their own plans. So Semaphore reported on Wednesday that many others in the city's business community are considering shifting their support from Cuomo to Eric Adams. And according to New York's David Freelander, several leaders in the real estate and business world had a group phone call to discuss what to do after Mamdani's victory. So make no mistake about it, these people definitely want to destroy Mamdani's chances of winning in the general election. It remains to be seen whether or not they'll succeed. But money talks, and I am a little bit concerned, and all sorts of tricks have been played in the past that unfortunately have worked. Yesterday we talked about upstate New York. There was a socialist who won a local race, at least the first round, and then lost in the general because the Democrat challenging this individual decided to run as an independent. Now, in this case, Cuomo appears to have dropped out of the race entirely, which is a good sign, but we'll see if Bill Ackman and the rest of the people panicking about Mamdani will find a strategy that will be successful. Cenk.
Yeah, they're thinking of doing a write-in candidate, which is harder, but people have won as a write-in candidate before, especially if you pour a lot of money into it. And some of the Democratic donors poured a lot of money into having Joe Biden needlessly win the New Hampshire primary as a write-in candidate last time around. And so maybe they can muster up the money. And they have a secret weapon I'll get to in a second, but more confessions that I liked. He's like, well, I'm not gonna tell you the candidate I prefer, but we'll pick him and then I'll pretend that I had nothing to do with it. You're saying things in public, right? So you just said you're a Trump supporting billionaire who will pick the Democratic candidate and then pretend he didn't.
Yep.
You just said it. And in the post, you talked about hundreds of millions of dollars. And then we'll take the billionaire money, Democrat and Republican, doesn't matter, they're all part of the uniparty establishment, et cetera. And then we'll use it to try to defeat a person that's trying to represent the average man, because we hate the average man. You're saying things in public, right? He didn't say he hates the average man, that's in between the lines. And all of this about Bill Ackman is my opinion. You can form any opinion you like. Maybe you could read his post by on your own and say, oh my God, I love this. Finally, somebody standing up for billionaires. Now, when he says it and Anna says it, that there's so many candidates we could have to run here. It's true, because the reason they're a dime a dozen is because they're all corporate robots off the Bill Ackman and billionaire assembly line. They're like, okay, will you do what we want? Yes, 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 yes. Will you do anything to help the average person? No, no, no. Doesn't matter, it's a good assembly line. Buttigieg and everybody else, just Newsom, keep going, keep going. Mitch McConnell, whoever, it doesn't matter, they're all corporate robots. So, and so lastly, you guys are a little bit more optimistic than I am. I wanted to see how optimistic you are. Will the establishment be able to defeat Mamdani in the general election? And you guys say 86-14, no. And I hope you're right, and keep voting, TYT.com. And so the reason why I'm a little worried, and what I want to give you guys a heads up about is, look, they're not going to defeat him with just commercials, the ads. That doesn't work as much anymore. And how many ads can you buy? You could swamp all of New York, which is very, very expensive, but with hundreds of millions of dollars, you could do it, right? But I don't think that's gonna get the job done. I think that what I want you to know and look for going forward from this day to the day of the general election in New York is watch what the mainstream media does. Because they're the actual hatchet men. Remember, the Ackman money goes into buying ads in mainstream media, and then mainstream media coincidentally supports their candidate 100%, and then digs and digs and digs and tries to find something wrong with Mamdani, and then comes out and goes, aha! We have this and this and this. And a Republican congressman today already at it. He found a rap lyric in something Mamdani sang once, and he's like, aha! He's supporting the wrong people in a rap line or whatever. So you're gonna see 200 stories like that as mainstream media on purpose is all negative against Mamdani going forward, and they will try to bury him. It'll be the media that does it. They're the culprit. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.